Say no more.
All
We're
right.
good. Let's go.
All right. Hey, y'all. What's up? It's another week, and that means another episode of the Cheap Pop Podcast. This week, as me and Alpha like to say, we're going to be talking about some sweaty men. Ain't that right, Mr. Alpha?
It is that time of the week again, that time of the month to talk about sweaty motherfucking men in the ring. Last week, we talked superheroes in DC. Now we're back onto the wrestling side of the show. We're going to break right into this with NXT in your fucking house. Banger of a show, banger of a complete little package.
In my house, in your house, in the houses of up to 44 million people, according to Peacock. Yeah, we had some great matches, but we opened with what I felt was one of the most just storyline wise, a bunch of storylines just kind of colliding in the ring, and 6 of the best athletes that they have in NXT on display, including the big colossal man Bronson Reed and the boys Nash, Carter, and Wesley of MSK taking on Legado del Fantasma.
You got it. You
would think I would kind of be able to have my little on when I just got done watching In the Heights this afternoon. Great movie. Another home run by Mr. Manuel Miranda, but that match it was a great way to kick off. It kicked everything off extremely hot, extremely fast. And that's of course any MSK match. But your thoughts on the about 15-minute match that opened this show?
Yeah, this glorious little fucking match. There's a lot of little layers to this match that I really like, that as a hardcore fan you can see. The NXT has a great reputation for starting off these takeovers with these high caliber, super breakneck speed tag team matches, and every single time they hardly disappoint. I always love them. This one was really interesting because at the end of the day, I felt there was a good chance that Santos Escobar could have walked out with the North American Championship. With how they've pushed him up into this point, I think it was completely believable.
Exactly.
But I think it's really interesting how all the people in this match sort of have a bit of a history together. Bronson Reed, some of the members of MSK, as well as Joaquin Wilde, who's on the other side of the match, all have roots in PWG and the Southern California wrestling scene. They all sort of came up around that same time wrestling in that area. And so seeing them all work together now in such high definition in NXT now, it makes me, I love seeing this now in such high fucking caliber. It's really cool. Shout out to the matching costumes of MSK and Bronson Reed, the green and black.
Those were beautiful, weren't they?
Yeah. And then all of Legado del Fantasma wearing each of the masks, through 2/3 of them wearing the masks that they've lost in other countries. It's a lot of layers to this. A lot of layers.
A lot of good, delicious layers. But it was I'll put it to you like this. People say that a match being predictable sometimes ruins the match. Not always. I can understand in certain situations, but not always. I'll give a prime example from the past. The final match between Rock and Cena. If I remember correctly, Rock came in as champ, correct?
Yep. Everyone knew what was happening.
I knew he was going to drop the belt to Cena. I knew it, coming in. Right? But it still didn't make the match any less great. Coming into this match, this 6-man tag, I knew, I don't know, maybe call it intuition or whatever, but I'm like, they're not stripping. Bronson Reed just won this title a hiccup and a half ago.
With how quick MSK got that rocket strapped to them, deep down, it's they're not losing that shit, right? Bronson's not losing that belt purely because MSK ain't gonna lose that shit at this point.
Exactly.
was my thought process, at least.
Even though I like the idea of a winner takes all match where you mix up the titles like that and it's winners take all. I love that idea.
Freebird style, I love that shit. Love that shit.
But at the end of the day, it made this match no less enjoyable. It took nothing away from this match. The fact that we knew, we pretty much knew that, this wasn't Legado del Fantasma's day, but it's the match was still uber enjoyable. And that is to where I tell people, this is where I get into, and I'll get into this real quick, and then we can move on to the next match, or we can get some final thoughts from you, and then we'll move on to the next match. This is where I say people put too much on story writing and creative. Your main focus as a wrestling fan should be what the fuck's going on in the ring. And are the wrestlers giving us a good match? It shouldn't matter what the storyline is. It shouldn't matter if Ric Flair is fighting Dusty Rhodes over a fucking taco. That shouldn't matter. It should matter what's going on in the fucking ring. And so many people complain about storyline and shit like that. That's why it irritates me. Because to me, when you complain about that, it means that you paid no attention to the match that was given to you. You were more worried about why so-and-so didn't go over so-and-so.
You're right. Yeah, there's a difference between being a smart fan and being someone who can see through this and has an understanding of what makes it up, or you can be a smart fan, as in be real about this shit and understand that the bits of the story are built up by the physicality. And if you really look at it in really well-built matches that aren't just fucking spot fests, each bit of the physicality is a genuine part of the story. It doesn't need to be explained through words.
Exactly.
But let's move on to the next match, though.
Which is a perfect kind of segue into this next match.
I agree.
Because this match was more about story. Like, they're taking us all the way back to the Miying Classic and Mercedes Martinez victory over Zelina, and they bring that rivalry all the way forward to this match. I thought it was a pretty good match. I don't know if you can read the top part of what's there, but it says that pretty much everybody that rated the pay-per-view gave this match like one of the lowest ratings. And I'm like, really? I'm not saying it wasn't I'm not saying it was a match of the night or it was the top match ever, but I don't
it wasn't think it fucking horrible.
Yeah. It wasn't.
Yeah.
So, what's your thoughts on the match, sir?
It wasn't a bad match. I don't think it was a bad match. I can understand why someone would see what happened after and how the match ended and how it would be just a little bit contrived and how it would be just a little bit counterintuitive to making Zelina look like an actual fucking menace.
Yeah.
Because Zelina kind of looks a little bit nerfed now, and Miying actually looks like the fucking M Bison of NXT now.
I don't say she got over pretty much more than the person who won the match. Like that was definitely the taste it left in my mouth. As it was like,
this is NXT though, so I'm hoping this has some sort of thread that's going to make a lot more sense. And I'm going to have some faith in that. But as of right now, I can see why someone would feel that way. But even then, in face value, I wouldn't even say this is one of the worst things NXT has put out. I've seen worse matches on NXT
TV. Yeah. Sorry, man. That Hell in a Cell 2013, I forgot about the Bellas match where one had to be the other's assistant for 30 days after the match. That storyline. Anyway.
Don't you love that section of women's wrestling? Isn't it so fucking fun?
All right, so moving forward off that match with Zelina won, was an interesting match. And let's dig into this one a little bit. We saw the return of the $1 Million Championship.
God hand juice himself. That motherfucker walks to the ring and bleeds swagger. I swear to fucking God. Swear to God.
Bro, I'll tell you this. There's been a lot of lines in wrestling that I've remembered because of their impact for various reasons. But you can't ever beat the chill that you feel when you hear that everybody's got a price for the $1 Million Man. And that laugh.
Nothing beats it. Nothing beats it.
But I'm going to say this.
Wrestling fans, that is neuron activation right there.
Or you hear that, money, 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 money. I'll say. But I'm going to be honest with you. I love this match. I love this match a lot. Out of 10, I'd probably give it at minimum an 8.
Yeah.
5, I'd probably give it a 4.
Yep. I agree.
And that's with saying this. I didn't like the finish. I thought Cameron
Yeah.
Grimes should have won the belt. Like, not because I like him more, but just the way they built the story. I just thought that Cameron Grimes should have won this. But
sorry, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, but LA Knight is a fucking beast, and I don't take anything away from him. But I just thought Grimes should have won this one. But go ahead.
Yeah. Like for me, I didn't realize until the match was about to begin. And I was like, oh shit, did they turn Grimes' face without me even knowing it?
Pretty much.
At some point, I realized, like, wait, this isn't heel versus heel anymore. Somehow, in the middle of this, Cameron Grimes ended up becoming one of the most white meat babyface little dudes in the NXT roster right now. Somehow, in the midst of this shit for me, and by the end of it, it solidified that, you know, with him taking that massive fucking bump. And I want to say that in terms of physicality, I'm really fucking impressed with this match. I need to point that out because I feel like it's really hard to really pin down a one-on-one ladder match for a title and have it, or one-on-one ladder match at all, and have it be cohesive, entertaining, and have a throughout tempo while still hitting story beats in between to make sense for each of the characters. They managed to put Grimes over as a courageous babyface, LA Knight over as a disgusting asshole heel, not a slimy chicken shit heel, which is amazing.
Yep.
and in all, it's everybody got over, and somehow, you know, not to knock the match, but this somehow between them ended up being faster paced and more cohesively put together than Devlin and Escobar's ladder match, which I thought would which on face value, when you like put the names next to each other, you thought would be much more better, at least in my opinion. But no, this blew it out of the fucking water.
I can definitely say that. I agree with you there 100%. Like, if I had to design a good ladder match, a great ladder match, this would be it, regardless of winner. If I had to design a great ladder match, this would be it. It gave us everything. It gave us shit like Cameron Grimes jumping off of one of the pillars in the fucking arena.
The Tron scaffolds,
You know, like it's one of those things where it gave us everything we wanted. Like I said, one of my moments of the match didn't even have anything to do with wrestling. It had to do with LA Knight wobbling Cameron Grimes and then walking over to the $1 Million Man and going, hey, this your $1 Million champion? Now that look like a $1 Million champion? No, now I don't look like a $1 Million champion. Do it. It was the swagger of both guys. Like I said, the reason why I felt like Grimes is I feel like he's kind of deserved it. His character has started to grow on me. I used to find Cameron Grimes extremely annoying. The accent, oh my God, it got on my nerves almost as much as Nicolas Cage's in Con Air.
Fucking right. Oh my fucking God. That's one way of comparing it.
But as he's gone along, and especially during this whole feud or storyline with $1 Million Man, I've grown to like Cameron Grimes. And he's definitely become a more likable character for me. And so as a new fan of his, I wanted to see him go over. But does LA Knight fit the persona of the $1 Million champion from head to fucking toe?
Yep.
The $1 Million champion is a fucking asshole. He's not a nice guy. You know, he's not. $1 Million Man, when he was carrying around that belt, shit, the man bought the WWF championship.
Yep.
You know, which, by the way, I'm right behind him with the thing, the petition to get him in as an actual legitimate WWF champion that they recognize one time.
Oh, yeah. Sign that shit.
Yeah, I'm all for that petition. Sign it, people, because I can tell you this, he deserves it. The $1 Million Man was the epitome of heel in a time when there was a bunch of really good heels. You had Ric Flair, you had a bunch of different guys. But yeah, and just a side note real quick, I just taped the match I'm going to be putting up on our first Gen X's page with Ultimate Warrior versus Goldberg.
Fucking nice.
Like Prime Warrior versus Goldberg, but that was from WWE 2K20.
Fucking shit, man. I like that.
But yeah, so congratulations to LA Knight. Boy, you deserve it.
Yeah,
you deserve the championship, but like I said, my heart's broken because I wanted Cameron to get that belt. But hopefully this means there's belts in his future.
Yeah, final thoughts on that real quick. Like a quote that comes to mind is one from Batman, like the thing about the $1 Million Championship might be that, in light of this, Cameron Grimes has proven to be a better person. But deep down, to be the $1 Million Champion, you shouldn't be the better person.
Exactly. Well put, my friend. Well put. All right. So the last match that we'll close out with before this half is over, Raquel Gonzalez taking on my girl, Ember Moon.
This match.
4.5 stars out of 5.
Yeah.
8.5, 9, 9.25 out of 10. These girls gave it their all. And they gave us everything that we possibly could. And there were multiple times in this match in which I genuinely believe that Ember Moon was about to put herself on the Mount Rushmore, female Mount Rushmore, and win that title for the second time.
That's what I was screaming too.
So, yeah.
Fucking Christ. Raquel Gonzalez is proving herself no fucking slouch. No slouch. As this is a strong first real defense for her. I'm real happy that Raquel Gonzalez has gotten the rocket strapped her. Like in light of a lot of things, if you look at the whole title scene in NXT right now, they're very clearly trying things out with a lot of new people at once here. And arguably the person who is shining the most right now, as per usual in NXT's amazing women's division, is Raquel Gonzalez. She's having amazing fucking matches week to week, and now at this takeover, she had an amazing match with Ember Moon. When it comes to women's wrestling, sometimes there's not enough impact, especially when it comes to Western and American women's wrestling, and that's my problem. And that's why I love so much Joshi, like Japanese women's wrestling, because there's some impact there. Raquel Gonzalez has that impact fucking tenfold. And she's always able to pull out new and innovative little moves like that full Nelson over the shoulder swing thing she does. Not full Nelson, gory special like swing over thing she does. I've never seen anything fucking like that. I think that shit's so awesome that she can just pull moves that I've never seen completely out of her ass like that.
She can wrap it up. The girl's good as a wrestler. I like her swagger. Like I started noticing it a little bit during her feud with Mercedes Martinez. I like how she carries herself in ring and out. She sells. A lot of big people don't. A lot, especially when they're significantly bigger than their opponents. A lot of big people don't, and she does. She sells, and she sells well. Like I said, there were several points in the match in which I believed Ember Moon was going to win the title. But me though, I'm anything with Ember Moon in it, and I'm in love. Like I don't care if she is married. Like Ember, you that girl for me. Like you just beautiful. But it doesn't
mad
mean
Max looking ass over here.
Exactly. It doesn't mean that she can't go in the ring, and I should hopefully see. Considering it doesn't look like I think she's one of the ones that gave her a shot at the main roster, but she's happier down in NXT. And I think she's going to be there for a while. So I hope to see her join that pantheon of 2-time women's champions at some point.
I agree. She deserves it.
So, all right, we're down to our last minute and a half, so I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up there. We'll come back after the break and talk a little bit Karrion Kross keeping his title in that fatal 5-way match, which I would say should be up for match of the year. There was only one kind of small issue I had with it that we'll get to after the break. We'll get to that. It looks like with only having one match to cover left, we'll probably have plenty of time to get to the talk of NXT from this week. And then we'll get to some Hell in a Cell, like talk about what matches we're looking forward to as that's happening. Well, by the time y'all hear this, it'll already be on. But while we're recording this, it's happening in a little bit. So
it's a little while away.
You're listening to the Cheap Pop Podcast right here on the Voices Presents Radio Network, Spreaker.com, iHeartRadio, Spotify, and anywhere you find your favorite podcasts. Peace. And we're back, y'all. Hey, hey, hey. It's another new day. We are back, myself and Alpha, to talk about this final match that closed out NXT in your house and brought down the house in just about every way we could possibly think of. Which, by the way, before we jump off this pay-per-view or we finish this whole thing off with this talk, I love the whole behind the scenes things of William Regal, like running around trying to keep all the chaos as all these people are just fighting all over the arena. Like, that was a pretty good sequence, but
loved it.
This match in itself was special.
Yeah.
Now, do I think it could have been more special? Yeah. But it was special. I honestly think the match didn't have enough carrying cross. I think there were too many times where he was just down and nowhere to be seen for too long because he is the champ and the match is surrounding his championship. It was weird watching O'Reilly, Cole, Gargano, and Dunn go at it and carrying crosses nowhere to be found. You know, like even though it made for great moments, it just didn't really, it kind of messed with the flow of the match to me. But how do you feel about the match?
Yeah, I have a lot to say about this match. Most of it good though, so let's get into that. I loved the psychology of the match. Bell rings, O'Reilly instantly fucking kicks Cole in the fucking gut right away. Not a second thought. And instantly Gargano, in a sort of haze, instantly just goes for Dunn. And then so begins this thread now where Karrion Kross kind of doesn't really fight anyone. Yeah, hold that thought as we move on now.
Okay.
I did like everyone's entrances really fast though. I loved Johnny's fucking gear as always. I forgot who he was, but oh no, he was Shawn Michaels. He was Shawn Michaels from In Your House, from the original In Your House. He was Shawn Michaels from In Your House. That was fucking dope. I love that, and he came through the door in light of Shawn Michaels, which was pretty fucking dope. But you saw this sort of combat that wasn't usually seen in these type of matches. They usually have one person and another person, and they're sort of taking turns with each other for a spot or two. No, they had a lot of people in the ring at once for this, most of the time being everyone except Karrion Kross. But when Karrion Kross was in there, he sort of looked like the Kratos of wrestling, ripping everyone in fucking half. Like I like that thread, at least, that when he is there, he's fucking throwing people around, and when he is taken out, it usually takes multiple people. He was slammed onto he was power bombed onto the announcer's table by O'Reilly and Cole teaming up against the bigger evil just one time to power bomb him onto the table. And in light of I am the table does not fucking break. So that looks jarring as fuck. Like he just full schmeat on the table, splat. Overall, like there were so many good spots in this match, and you're right. I feel like I didn't really think about it like that, like until you really said it. Like just the way it was put together, that worked against Kross. Yeah, and I understand what they're trying to do. You know, like lighten the load on Kross so that the people who can work really well can shine. Right.
Right.
But the problem is, despite the fact that I know Kross can work at a good level, now I don't blame people for watching this and seeing what looks like 4 of NXT's best workers that have come through in the past few years and Karrion Kross.
Yeah.
And I hate that thought because I know his potential, but especially with the way this match was put together and the way that everyone worked and all the spots that everyone did in tandem with against what Kross did, it does kind of look like 4 of NXT's best with Karrion Kross in the mix.
Yeah. And it's not a bad thing. Like, don't get me wrong. I understand the message that they are trying to do, but at the same time, it's just like I said, I just wanted more Kross. Like I just thought that it should have been more Karrion Kross. But we didn't get more Karrion Kross this time, and that's okay. We will hopefully get more Karrion Kross moving forward because the man won the match. But let's after giving that, do you have more on that match or?
No, that was it for the most part.
Okay,
that was it.
So So let's kind of dive off of there and dive into the aftermath. For those of you that were watching but In Your House, you'll know that at the end of the show, William Regal's kind of walking out dejected and says that, there needs to be change. And on Tuesday, we found out what that change is. And despite
that change is from Huntington Beach, California.
Yes, it did. I'm like, despite him being released just a few months ago by the WWE higher-ups, Triple H himself, from what I've heard and read articles about, has made the decision to bring Samoa Joe back to the NXT brand, and Joe is now William Regal's enforcer. William Regal tried to give him the GM shit, from what I heard.
Yeah.
But Joe turned it down and said he'd rather be an enforcer. And yeah, I love me some Joe. I can't get enough Joe. But your thoughts, sir?
I'm not going to encapsulate the whole episode, but I'm just going to run with just this thread really quick. Kushida defended his title in a pretty good match. I remember the main event was a pretty good match too, because Io Shirai was in there, if I'm not mistaken. But the thread of this was amazing, because obviously we finish off TakeOver In Your House with a sobbing Regal saying there needs to be change. And at this point, with how long he's been there, we could have easily seen him just leave it, because we've seen people have BGM for less time and still walk out way before that. But there were bits of rumblings about this a few days, even a week beforehand, but I don't think anybody could have really seen ahead of time how amazing this was going to fucking play out. William Regal comes out and he starts giving basically what sounds like his eulogy, his goodbye to NXT, that he wants to pass it on to somebody else. And then Cross comes out and gets in his face and tells him to acknowledge him as his tribal chief, essentially.
Okay.
In Karrion Cross language, you can translate it. But eventually, after a while of them just talking shit with each other, Joe's music hits and everyone goes fucking wild, and Joe gets in Cross's face. And we basically understand at that point that Regal wanted Joe to be the replacement GM. And Joe just straight up says, absolutely not, because you're William Regal and you're going to leave these massive shoes that it is impossible for me to begin to fill.
Yeah.
But what I can do is understand that nobody's giving William Regal any respect here, and people need to give him respect, and I'm willing to make people give you respect. Yes. And so I can make sure of that. And William Regal says, you know what? That's fine, so long as you don't put your hands on anyone unless you're provoked.
Unless.
And so Joe instantly is like, say no more, I'm in. and he gets in Cross's face, and Cross leaves the ring, and that's the end of the amazing fucking segment. Now the best part of this now is, after weeks of seeing William Regal trying to stop and failing to pry them off of each other, right? The very first fight that happens is O'Reilly and Cole just beating the shit out of each other and going at it. And so, as per usual, William Regal comes to stop it, but now Joe is at his side. And so Joe rolls up and he's like, hey, bro, cut the shit. Adam Cole pushes Joe. Joe stops for a minute, looks down at his chest, locks Cole in the coquina clutch, and puts him to fucking sleep instantly without a fucking inch of hesitation. O'Reilly just backing the fuck up. It's an amazing fucking scene that basically makes you understand, like, oh, wait, no. All of this shit was building up to show you NXT needs Joe. And all of the problems that have been happening over the past few weeks could only be solved by Joe. And the first fight that happened that Joe was there was squashed instantly. No fucking hesitation. And so that just, as we roll throughout the night, is the idea until we get to the end of the show, where Joe and Regal sort of agree that this is amazing. This is the beginning of an amazing partnership, as they ride away in a fucking Benz like some badasses. It is one of the best episodes of NXT I've seen, bar none, since its inception. And I say this as somebody who's been watching since 2014. watch this fucking episode. I cannot recommend it enough.
I will be. I will be. Joe's gonna kill you.
Mhm.
Joe's gonna kill you. Yes. Well, say, let's see. So Joe came back. I'm uber duper glad for that. We got 10 minutes left, so let's take a real quick look at the Hell in a Cell matchups that are going to be happening tonight, as I'm currently watching Seth Rollins versus Dean Ambrose in Hell in a Cell. Let's see.
2016?
2015.
Fucking
or 2014. Sorry, 2014.
Damn it.
I just got done watching AJ Lee versus Paige for the Divas title.
Not bad.
Yeah. Trust me, there's nothing bad about that match for me at all. Nothing bad. All right.
Let's make a lightning round.
Yes. All right. So we have Cesaro and Rollins. We got Kevin and Sami Zayn. We got Bliss and Baszler, Belair and Bayley, Ripley and Flair, Lashley and McIntyre. It's McIntyre's last chance at the title. Let's see, and then Natty versus Mandy Rose with their tag team partners by their side. So why don't you kick us off first, sir, and tell us what matches are you most looking forward to?
I'm not really a massive fan of Natalya and Tamina's thing going on, but as a small tidbit, I am a lot more interested in their tag team once I found out that Tyson Kidd recommended to Natalya that it happen in reference to Owen Hart and Yokozuna being together, because Tamina is related to Yoko and Natalya to Owen Hart. Yeah. And so I do like that tag team a little bit more now that I know that. But rolling forward, I'm so fucking happy to see Owens and Zayn in the ring again. Like we talked about before, their match at Mania was not, the end to anything. It was more or less the beginning. And I hope that they're given a lot more time here and a lot more leniency in the way that they run this match, because they hardly ever fuck up together.
Amen. All right. For me, I'll be honest with you. There's two matches I'm looking forward to, and both of them are championship matches. Ripley versus Flair, I'm looking forward to, just to see if they book it the way I think they're going to book it, because I honestly think this is where Ripley goes over Flair. Not giving a prediction, but just giving because if you remember, Ripley lost her rematch last year after dropping the belt to Charlotte. So she's got to get a victory in there somewhere. Charlotte just can't be winning all the time. And I think Charlotte came back as the asshole bad guy, because it gave somebody else to hate in this, because a lot of people were not really on Ripley's side after she beat Asuka, who is everybody's babyface of babyfaces. You know what I'm saying? Kind of what they're building Nikki Cross to be right now. In that same vein. So it's going to be real interesting to see where this match goes. I definitely think the winner ends up with Nikki Cross at the next pay-per-view, but we'll see how that goes too.
It looks like the time to get her heat back. I see that.
And then I'm interested in the Bobby Lashley Drew McIntyre match, just because, again, I want to see how they book it, because they're saying this is the last time that Lashley or that McIntyre can face Lashley for the title. So is that a thing that Lashley's going to win and be dropping the belt soon? Or is this a thing where this is where McIntyre gets it back? Because he hasn't held it since what? He dropped it at Mania.
Dropped it at Mania.
No,
he dropped it a little before Mania.
He dropped because he dropped it to the Miz at, I think, Royal Rumble, at the end of Royal Rumble. Yeah. And then Bobby Lashley took it from Miz within a couple of weeks of that. So I'm thinking, like, I'm looking at it and I go, so if McIntyre, it wouldn't surprise me if McIntyre won the belt back, but I think this is one of those things where this is clearing the way for Bobby Lashley to possibly face Brock Lesnar at SummerSlam.
Stole the words out of my mouth, you bastard.
I genuinely think that may be coming. And if you clear McIntyre, the only true contender that they have right now, since they let go of Strowman, the only true contender they really have on Raw So it's got to be clearing the way for somebody else. So
You're right.
Go ahead. What were you saying, sir?
You stole the words right out of my mouth. Like, you know, if there's any possibility here, I think there's a very good chance Drew McIntyre walks out with his heat back here again after a few months. You know, they did their best to keep his momentum going for a reason, and I think this is where they pick that back up so that they can build towards Lashley and Lesnar. Not just because that's what I want, but because as you probably heard as well, there's been a lot of rumblings of Lashley versus Lesnar being in talks again, and Lesnar is one of the few people I think we can bet on seeing again. I think there's a good chance. I think there's a good chance we'll see The Rock within the next 7 months. I think there's a good chance we'll see Cena within the next 7 to 8 months. I'm willing to bet we're gonna see Lesnar some way, shape, or form. Like I think I can bet on that for sure.
There's a lot of people, and here's what's funny, is if what you're talking about is truthful, okay, which I believe it is, if it turns out to be true,
yeah,
then that means these sudden releases that happened recently happened for a reason, happened to clear the decks so that they could bring in a Lesnar, a Rock, etc. You know what I'm saying, later on down the road.
Big money deals.
Big money deals, exactly. And so, and people can bitch all they want and say, "Oh, you're bringing back old people." Those old motherfuckers put butts in the fucking seats.
It's called dime fucking drawers. Learn about it.
Sorry. So I'm going to close out with this. I was having a conversation with one of my coworkers, which he really wants to be on the show. He's an avid comic book fan. He's in his 60s, so he goes all the way back.
Ooh,
and Superman is his dude. So he said he would love to be a part of the show. So I told him that I'm down for it. I just had to talk to you first. So we'll have him on soon. But I was telling him about a time when I went to SmackDown at the Oracle Arena in Oakland. And this was right around the time that news had broke that Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson had actually been born at Kaiser in Hayward.
Yeah.
A place I visited many times. So I'm walking I'm walking around Oracle Arena. I'm going to a concession stand, and of course The Rock pops on screen. So I'm like, oh, my God, it's The Rock. So I run up to the thing to go see, and I'm staring straight at the monitor from the other side of the arena, staring straight at the monitor, watching him come on. And he goes into his spiel, and he goes into the finally, and if The Rock has come back to insert city here, right? But this time, man, I tell you, he blew the roof off this thing with just a simple tweak. He goes, finally, The Rock has come. He drops the hand, looks dead into the mic, drops his eyebrow, drops his glasses, and goes, home.
Explosion.
Yeah, man, I'm jumping up and down like, yeah. But no.
Marking out.
But it was just one of those definite mark out moments, and one of those moments that sometimes you don't get if you don't go to live shows, but this one was on national TV, but it blew that place could not have been filled with more energy. And I can guarantee you this, if that man came back at SummerSlam or not SummerSlam or Survivor Series or something like that, it would blow the roof off of any arena that they're in at that time as well.
It would. Absolutely.
All right, so
I remember that clip so clearly. Go ahead, though.
I was gonna say, let's go ahead and wrap this up. We got Hell in a Cell next week. Are we gonna be trying to do Howard the Duck next week?
Oh yeah, we're doing Howard the Duck next week.
Okay, Howard the Duck.
Next week we're doing Howard the Duck, and then we're gonna be doing Bad Batch
and the 3 episodes of Loki. And
Loki.
Yeah. So
that's the lineup next week.
Yes, sir. So join us for that, guys. And then, as always, I'll let Alpha close us out one more time.
All right. You know how it goes, my people. It is hot as shit, and it is only getting hotter out here. So please be safe. We're really all starting to open up right now. I hope you're all doing all right over there. Thanks for listening to us over here at the Cheap Pop Podcast. Peace.
And be sure to click that subscribe button. Follow us every week.
Mm-hmm.
Peace.
Peace.